Guys, webinar here yet again. My little conservation video I did, crossing traffic, that I did a couple days ago. I actually did pretty well. Got some pretty decent views, so I figure people on YouTube and friends are actually, interested in conservation. So I wanted to just give you guys some tips, some things you can do at home or when you're shopping to help reduce your dependency on consuming extra resources and wasting money, essentially. Well, let's start in the home. What can you do in your home? Well, the first thing that's really easy to do is turn off lights. So if you're not in a room, if you have lights on outside on the porch and you don't really need them on, it's a good idea to just turn them off. Save yourself some money, save the world some electricity, save the coal burning power plant at your local coal burning power plant, because generally most of our power plants are coal burning. Got some people coming up ahead, so I'm gonna have to take control and cut here. But yeah, turn off lights. That's a simple thing. How's it going, guys?
All right, how you doing?
Doing all right. So aside from turning off lights, you can unplug electrical devices. So if you use, a toaster oven or an air fryer or even your TV, your gaming system, you can unplug those when they're not in use, even your computer, because they use what's called phantom power. So even devices that are plugged in will draw a certain amount of electricity out of your socket, and it can be up to 5% of what it usually uses. So if you unplug these, you're also going to save yourself some electricity bill, and you're also reducing the electricity that needs to be produced from your local power station, or at least sent to your house. So you reduce your input there. Another simple thing, which I mentioned in my last video, is try and conserve water. You can do this by finding out if you have a really good dishwasher. If you have a really good dishwasher, then it might be better for you to just put your dishes in the dishwasher, because newer, later models have really water efficient tendencies, whereas older models that are maybe from the early 2000s and 90s, or even, I don't know who's got something from the 80s, but maybe someone does out there. Older dishwashers are going to waste a lot more water and resources, so it'd be better for you to hand wash dishes in that instance. Also, another tip you can do at home for water conservation is when you're brushing your teeth. How's it going, guys? You can turn off the faucet. Yes, I know, it's a miracle. We're supposed to brush our teeth for about 2 minutes. So you do, in that 2 minutes, I generally do 90 seconds. I try and do 2 minutes, but in that time, you don't need to let your faucet just keep running. I know it might sound gross, but you can spit into the sink and then wash it out afterwards. You do not need it to be running and waste probably nearly a half a gallon or more of water just by running your faucet that way. It's the next tip is a little grosser, but this was a oldie. If it's yellow, let it mellow. So don't flush your toilet as often. Obviously, if you're going number 2 in your toilet, I beg you to flush that stuff down. And even if you're urinating in your toilet, if you let that stuff set for too long, you're going to have to start cleaning your toilet, and you might need to use chemicals to do that. So there are some positives to that, but what's the matter, Bill? Coming? I live alone. I often try and not flush the toilet as much as I normally do. If I didn't have to flush it, I wouldn't flush it. So I save, maybe a gallon or so of water a day. Come here, Bob. Come. What are you doing? He's being difficult. Another really cool tip, saving your food scraps. So if you have the space outside, maybe you rent a house, or even you have some space at your apartment where you can have a small garden, you can set up your own compost bin. I recently just did this with my roommate's leftover poop buckets. So I cut some holes in the sides of it and some holes on the bottom of it, and it's got a screw lid on it. And I just put in some leaf debris and I started throwing in food scraps. And then once there's a nice layer of food scraps, you can throw in more leaf debris. And another beneficial thing you can do for your compost bin is buy some worms for it. And that'll help you reduce the amount of trash going to a landfill, and it gives you a clean source of nutrient-rich soil to use if you garden. That's a really cool one that I haven't been doing in a while. I used to compost, but I just haven't in quite a long time. I was saving food scraps at my old apartment and just kind of like burying them once I got to a certain amount, which is also better than, I guess, throwing it at your local dump, which will take up space and all sorts of stuff. But yep, that's another nifty one you can do at home. When you're going out to eat, it might be good for you to carry food safe containers in your car, food safe silverware, food safe plates, stuff like that. So you can go to a restaurant, fast food, fast casual dining, whatever they are, or even a restaurant. And instead of, having to take carry out with a plastic container that they give you, that's just going to get thrown away, you can request that they use your container and save resources that way, because you're going to reuse your container. It's probably going to be silicone or like a safe reusable plastic that you can eat from and reuse, and you'll reduce waste that way. That's one I used to do as well. One of my ex-partners would do that a lot, and so I got encouraged to try and do it, and I just kind of fell out of it. But it's one that I need to pick up on. Another nifty one is bringing your own straw, so you don't constantly use plastic straws. You can bring your own bamboo straw. You can bring a metal straw. Metal straws last a long time. They're really efficient. Won't go bad. Doesn't really break like a bamboo straw might. So that might be an option for you, and just always carry that around, just like the utensils or the food containers that you would be carrying around. Use reusable bags for grocery shopping. That's another one that I used to do a lot more often, and then my car kind of recently got junked up in like the last year, and so I don't really remember to bring in my reusable bags, but throughout my life I have. And they say they take a lot of water to use, but so does the plastic bags that aren't really reusable. They're single-use plastics. That takes a lot of energy to create too. So using reusable bags will help reduce your consumerism, essentially. And make sure you use them multiple times, and don't just collect them. Get like a certain number that you're going to be using at Walmart or Aldi's or Publix, maybe 5-10 bags at most, and don't buy any more. Use those for years. Just keep reusing those so that you don't put more pressure on creating a product that we don't really need, because they can be water intense to create those things. I've had some really clever ones that I just absolutely love, and I still use to this day, and they're made out of t-shirts. And so people use old t-shirts and cut holes into them and sew up the bottom, and then you can just load them up with groceries. And those are my favorite because they're already made, they were already worn as a t-shirt, and now they have a second life as like a grocery bag. So that's my favorite reusable grocery bag. Repair things if possible instead of throwing them away. So right now I currently have a truck dolly for moving furniture about, and the wheels went bad on it, and I kind of want to throw it away, but it would actually be better if I just bought a new set of small wheels, replaced them, and just kept using the dolly. So little things like that are useful. My friend has this old turntable, and he wants to repair it instead of throwing it away and getting a new one. So simple things like that will help reduce the amount of trash going into a landfill, but also let you keep something longer and reuse it and reduce demand on creating new product. When it comes to driving, some simple things you can do: drive smoothly. The faster you accelerate in the car, the more fuel you're going to waste, and you never know when going to have to slow down again. So make sure you're a safe driver. That's first and foremost in the world. But there's a lot of people that are kind of speed demons. And in my life, I used to, when I was in my early 20s, I would accelerate really quickly. And then eventually I found, hey, you know what, this is kind of just really wasteful. And I started to switch the game into like, how can I conserve gas? How can I reduce the RPMs while I'm driving? So that became my new game in life. So yeah, try not to speed too fast, especially in slower urban areas where you're probably going to have to be braking anyways. I was looking up some tips, and it says make sure you keep your car tuned up, because that'll reduce the amount of like smog you create, how much fuel you're using, stuff like that. And if you are rotating your tires, for example, your tires are going to last longer. You're not going to need to buy new tires. Got some people up ahead in a nice spot. Hold on. Oh, you guys got the good music, I'm telling you. I'm enjoying this. Enjoying it. Oh yeah, he does look for scraps on here. He'll try and eat it for sure. I don't think he should though. Alright, we're back at it, my friends. Some cool people blasting some nice tunes out at one of my favorite spots around here. This is at Ponds Preserve, and this is like the riverside. It's got this nice, beautiful dockway. It's been closed for like 4 or 5 months, but it's open again. So, what else can we do to conserve? We already talked about how to conserve some energy, how to conserve fuel in the car, how to reduce your food scraps, how to reduce your water intake, repair things. Sorry, let me get you in frame. I'm terrible with that. There's so many different things we can do to have an impact. And another one of those is just like encourage people around you to also participate in this. Like I have roommates that tend to leave the lights on and tend to leave their computers on. And it's up to me to like encourage them, hey, you get to turn those out. Little things like that, have butterfly effects. People remember that. Like, yeah, you know, my friend has encouraged me to do this, so I'm going to try and participate that in my life. So if you can talk to your family, your roommates, or friends, naturally, of course, don't just hassle them about these things. No one really likes that. But if you can naturally come up in conversation, maybe you're like brushing your teeth with your partner, and they leave the faucet on. My ex-partner used to do this all the time. I'd have to turn it off in front of her and be like, let's save some water. I don't know if she picked up on that habit after we broke apart, but you know, I did my best to encourage it. So that's another big thing you can actually do to help conservation for yourself and the planet and everyone. You know, just talk to people about it, encourage people to do what's smarter, you know, encourage people to be less wasteful. Because we are all wasteful in many ways. Some of us are very on top of trying to conserve and reduce your waste as much as possible, but that's really a minority of people out there. I don't know what that percentage is, but I'd say a much larger percentage of people don't even think about it. You know, their electric bill's cheap enough, they don't need to conserve energy, they feel like. So they don't put the washer on cold setting to conserve energy. They don't have the dryer on medium heat or whatnot, or even think about using a line dryer outside to dry your clothes on for whatever reason. So encouraging people and you yourself participating in that smaller minority to reduce energy uses, consumption, reduce waste, it will have an impact. It might be very, 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 very tiny impact, but if you encourage others, you might all have a tiny impact. And then eventually, if they possibly encourage others, it might have an actual impact. And that's kind of the goal here, is to get us all to be more conscious about the resources we're using and have a positive impact on things. Because, like I said, it's only a minority of people that are really taking it seriously, and most people don't care. So if you can become one of those people that actually do care, that actually do try and be mindful about conserving resources, energy, money, whatever gets you motivated to do it, it will have an impact. About a few more ideas, but you can also Google them pretty easily. That's what I did like a week ago, to remind myself, like, oh yeah, I could do this, oh yeah, I could do this. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you got some ideas you can take with you back home and actually put into practice. And me and Cub are just gonna go enjoy the day, the rest of the day. We've already been to the beach, so please like, comment, subscribe, all that cool fun stuff if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed my rambling, if you thought it was meaningful in any way or helpful. Please subscribe. It'd be nice to try and grow my channel again. Or give a like or a comment. You know, I appreciate it all. I read them all. I don't get that many. So every comment that I get, I'll reply back, give you a little heart. It kind of makes my day a teeny bit more when I see a like on the video, or I see someone commenting and I can interact with them and they let me know that, you know, what I've said is helpful or gave them more hope or whatnot. I appreciate that. So that's all I'm trying to do, is spread hope and spread some knowledge and get people out there. Because we're so stuck in our work life, we're stuck in the home, we're stuck in like confined social lives where we think the only thing we can do is go out and drink or go to a concert, and so few of us are actually involved in the dwindling of nature that's before us. And it's important to participate in this, go out and visit it, so you remember it's here, so that you remember you're part of it, so that you remember to help take care of it. You know, it's actually really important, and we kind of just let it go. So don't let it go. All right, thanks for watching, guys.